pediatrician came out into the waiting room and talked with us for an hour when we didn't even have an appointment, and he said, do not get her MMR, because I have heard that there is, because he knew about Ryan, I've heard that there's a link with autism. And so it was her regular doctor that told us that, and probably saved her from, because she already had problems with celiac at that point, and colitis. So my name is Becky Berryhill, and this is my daughter Kylie.
How old are you, Kylie?
18.
18. It's great to meet you guys.
And my story starts actually not with my son, but with my first child, my first daughter. I was vaccinated, well, I stepped on a rusty nail moving out of my apartment to live with friends when I was pregnant with my first daughter. And they gave me a tetanus shot.
While you were pregnant?
Well, I was pregnant.
How do you know how pregnant you were?
I was a little bit over 5 months at that time.
Wow.
And within 3 weeks, I had a premature rupture of the membranes and lost her. She lived for 3 hours, and they did an autopsy on her, and they said nothing was wrong with her. So, I don't know, it's a bit suspicious that it happened the way that it did.
That's horrific. We're really sorry. It's so hard.
It was it was back in 1993. A year later, I had my son, and he was 5 weeks premature. He was on a bilirubin blanket for jaundice.
Did you get vaccinated while you were pregnant again?
No, I did not. I did everything right according to what I thought was right. And I just was so very careful because of the first one. And then I didn't even know I was in labor, went to the hospital, and I was already 6 centimeters dilated, fully effaced, and I had him, and he was 7 pounds, so he was decent size, even though he was 5 weeks early. But then they proceeded to vaccinate him on a regular schedule, even though he was early. He was vaccinated at the time from birth that he would have been. At 2 months, he received his first vaccines. After that first round of vaccines, he went into a double ear infection. So they gave him amoxicillin, and it didn't work, so they gave him Zithromax, and that didn't work.
And he's such a little baby.
Yeah.
Do you know how much he weighed then?
He was probably, at 2 months, I think he was about maybe 9 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
So after that, he continued to have ear infections. He had 8 of them in his first year of life, and they continued to vaccinate him. And after his DPT at 15 months, I was actually out of state working in New Jersey. My mom was watching him in New York, and I drove up. I got a phone call from my husband in the morning, and they said they'd been at the hospital with him all night because he was high-pitched screaming, and they were just about to do a spinal tap for meningitis. But then they decided it was a viral infection. And about 3 months later, he was vaccinated with his MMR, and that's when everything changed. He had been delayed before that as far as motor skills, but everything, he was connected, he was laughing, he was smiling, he was starting to talk. And then as soon as the MMR.
Was it only the MMR that he had that day?
Yeah, I believe it was.
It might be worth getting his records.
I should check back and see, but he definitely had the MMR that day, and after that he totally changed. He was disconnected. He lost whatever words he had. He started screaming every time. Like, I'd take him on a walk around the neighborhood, and he'd scream his little lungs out if I turned the wrong way. After that, he wanted to go the same way all the time. And he would do this. You've heard this story probably thousands of times.
No, you're reminding me of Billy. It's the same thing,
Yeah.
He had to turn right outside the door every single day, and going right went nowhere. Going left went everywhere.
Yeah.
So I understand 100%. And when you try to pick them up, they arch their back and throw their head back, and you're lucky if you don't get head butted. I remember.
For a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, we had moved to Vermont at that time, and we took him to see a neurologist at, it was a hospital in Burlington. And he wouldn't give him a diagnosis, but he said that he was developmentally delayed and probably would have problems for the rest of his life. And finally at 3, when he was supposed to be, we were back in New Jersey and he was supposed to be in school, the school psychologist finally diagnosed him with autism because the only thing he did in her presence was to just lie on the floor and kick and scream. And so he was put into school at that point at 3 in a special school for autistic kids, and stayed there.
Did he live at home or did he live back?
He lived at home with us.
Okay.
It wasn't far from us, and he was bused by the local school district. They didn't have room for him in their program, which was a blessing actually, because where he was better.
Now, how old is he now?
He is 21 now.
Wow. Okay. Mm-hmm. And how's he doing now?
He's doing fabulous now. He's not healed. He has a lot of social awkwardness, and he has a real desire to connect with people socially, but he just doesn't know how. He did graduate from high school. He has his high school diploma. He's now attending Greenville Tech College. He's doing a certificate in computer automated design, and geared towards the automotive industry. So, and he's excelling at that. So he's pretty happy about that.
Oh, wonderful. And so have you had vaccines because you're younger?
I did have vaccines when I was a baby, I think. But
now, do you remember your brother being in having this autistic state or whatever they want to call the injury?
I was actually kind of too young to remember like when he was really bad off. So I kind of just remember like playing with him. Like I knew he was different, but it was never like I don't remember when it was really bad. I was really young.
Yeah, she was around, but she was a baby when he was at his worst. I was pregnant with her, and through her first year and a half, and then we started doing some interventions that really, really helped him. So.
And it sounds like he's doing amazingly well. Do you still feel sort of the need to protect him? Or do you feel like he's fine on his own?
Usually I feel like he's, like, sometimes when he's driving, alone by himself, like, I get nervous because he doesn't understand, like, all the social cues of driving, but, like, he's been fine so far, so.
That's a great issue that you bring up. I mean, I think that is, many parents worried, many of our kids probably could drive, but it's not them, it's the other drivers, and exactly as you say, the social cues of that. So, good point. Thank you for telling your story. I'm really sorry about your baby girl.
I'll see her in heaven someday.
Oh, you will. You definitely will. She should join our crew up here. This is our crew of angels.
Oh, they're beautiful.
They are beautiful.
And she was too.
What's her name?
Mary.
Mary. Okay.
She was born around Christmas time, and she was supposed to be Brittany, but she became Mary.